Operation Cupid, Japanese turn 8, final turn. So for production, we're going to be building 5 infantry, 2 artillery, 2 tanks, 1 mech, 1 destroyer, and 2 fighters for a total of 67 IPCs. We're going to have a number of combats this round. Quite a bit of activity going on in China, in Russia. Zone 6, the Americans are really trying to put up a fight down there, up there, and also Australia with this massive potential invasion force which is trying to stop our party in the Money Islands. So let's get going with our turn. So the first thing is the Japanese army has been hedgehogged in Kazakh for a number of turns, so it's time to break out. So we're going to move into Novosibirsk, and the Japanese infantry in the pass is going to surprise the Russians to come out and also move into Novosibirsk. In Suiyan in China, 1 tank is going to blitz into Kangsu and then go into Shenzi. So I just pretend I just put that marker on now. So the mech and the infantry in Suiyan is going to go in Kangsu, as well as the tank from Hopei against those 3 Russians. You're going to see the bomber and Chahar going into Zone 6, and that's going to have 3 movement left over. And we're going to see this die bomber from Anwei, 1, 2, 3. It's going to have 1 left over. All the fighters in Japan, that's 2 tactical 2 fighters, they're going to attack Zone 6. They'll have that's only cost 1 movement. They have 4 left. In Amur, we're going to send an infantry into Sakha. Also from Amur, another infantry into Siberia, getting those resources. 1 infantry is going to move from Manchuria to Gorno-Bak. 1 infantry from Shan State is going to go into Yunnan. Down here in the Philippines, our carrier with 2 fighters is going to go 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and attack Zone 54 with 2 fighters. So they will have, well, if they survive, they'll go down. If they don't survive, if the carrier doesn't survive, they're going to go down with the carrier. The bomber in Borneo is going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to have 2 movement left after that attack. Just make sure I've got everything. I've just got this here because we're going to be moving units into Kwangtung. Okay. So now we'll set up the battles. Let's do the smaller battle first. We'll do the one in Russia. Sorry, China. So we've got 3 Russian defenders. And we've got a Chinese mech and a Chinese infantry. And we have 2 tanks coming in, so the tanks fire at 3. Okay, so we have 2 tanks. We have 2 infantry. And we need to get 3 hits. So far we've got 1 hit. Not a good start, and they fire back. And they also get 1 hit. So the Japanese take off 1 infantry, so do the Russians. So now we have 2 tanks and 1 infantry. And we score 1 hit. Again, 1 hit. And then they fire back. They have 2 and artillery and a mech. And they also score 1 hit. So 1 score, 1 hit each. So the Japanese lose another mech. The Soviets lose, I'm thinking you'll keep the artillery. If you want to correct that, if the battle keeps going. So I have 2 tanks versus 1 artillery. So I can roll it out at the same time. And there's a miss. And the Russians don't want to go quietly, so 1 loss on each side. That leaves 1 Japanese tank. So we do get the territory in Shensi. Okay, so the next one we'll do the C-Zone 6 battle. So for C-Zone 6, we actually have order of losses here. So they've got a super carrier, destroyer, cruiser, tactical, and a fighter. That's the order of losses. And I have 3 tacticals coming in, so they're going to target the carrier. See if we can get 3 hits. Who knows? So I have 1 transport coming in as a bomber. There's 1 transport in Japan that's acting like a transport. I have 3 tacticals, and I have 2 fighters coming in against a carrier, a destroyer, cruiser, tactical, and fighter. So there we have it. Okay, so we're going to do our tacticals first. So I've got to get 3 hits to sink that carrier. We'll see what happens. And I get 1 hit. Okay, so I'll just mark that 1 hit on the carrier, and now we'll keep firing. So we have a bomber, and we have 2 fighters coming in, 2 jets, and we score 2 more hits. So I'll just make a note of that. And then of course they fire back. So they have a fighter, they have a tactical and a cruiser, they have a destroyer, and they have an aircraft carrier. And they get 1 hit. So that was very fortunate for the Japanese. So 1 hit. So we take off. So 2 hits. So the carrier is now sunk, and we take 1 loss. So we're going to take off a fighter. And we're not going to continue attacking because those planes have nowhere to land. So that's it for that combat. So let me just put these back. So the next one we're going to do is the Australian battle. So the order of losses on the Australian battle is destroyer, cruiser, and then they have 4 transports. So I actually have to, this is the first time we'll be shooting at a lot of transports this turn. So we put on our units. We have a destroyer, cruiser, destroyer, and a whole bunch of transports. Versus a carrier with 2 jets and 1 bomber. transports. Where did I put them? Okay, I will mark those transports. And here they are. Sorry, here they are. So there we go. So now we have 4 transports, 1 Japanese carrier, a bomber, 2 jets versus the destroyer, cruiser. Here we go. So the Japanese have 2 jets, a bomber. That's it. And I managed to get 2 hits. So I'm going to mark that down too. And they get to fire back. So they have a cruiser, a destroyer, and 4 transports. So they get 2 dice as well. They get to fire back. And they get 1 hit. So not that impressive. Okay, so they get 2 losses. So according to the order of losses, the cruiser, destroyer, then the cruiser go. And then the Japanese get 1 loss. I'm going to take it off the bomber. I don't want to take a chance. So the bomber's leaving anyway, so I'm killing the bomber. And then we continue fighting. So now it's fighters, jet fighters versus transports. So I can roll those at the same time. So jet fighters versus transports. Keeping in mind that the transports are trying to ram my carrier. So I get 2 hits, so that's 2 transports gone. They miss, and now we have another combat. Now it's there's 2 transports remaining, so I have 2 jets versus 2 transports, and they get a hit. Good for them. So they are destroyed, but they do get a hit, so they take a fighter down with them. They were honorable opponents, and my carrier and 1 jet fighter is remaining. So that's it for the combat. For the non-combat move, I'm going to move from Shan State into French Indochina. I'm going to move an infantry into Shan State. I'm going to move this artillery. I can't rail it. I'll move rail this artillery through Shan State into French Indochina. This tank is going to go into Manchuria. And over here, so we have all these fighters. Okay, so they take 1 movement in the C zone. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of them is going to land in Kwangtung. And so that one's landing there. I'm going to land a tactical there as well. So there's a tactical and a fighter in Kwangtung. I'm going to rail from Kangsu into Kwangtung. We're a little bit nervous about losing our... we want to keep the colonizers out of Hong Kong. So I have a bomber that can transport 2 infantry from Tokyo. And they're also going to land in Kwangtung. So that's a total of 3 infantry. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll send this bomber to transport to Kangsu. And all these 2 planes are going to land in Tokyo. I'm going to send my artillery back to Korea to help safeguard Korea. The Americans have been coveting that all game. And I think I've done all my... I can actually move this aircraft, fly this jet, 1, 2, 3, and land on this carrier. So now I have both. I have 2 fighters again on the carrier. And okay, so now I'm going to put my forces on. So I have 2 fighters, which I'm going to put in Japan. And these American planes have nowhere to land, so they're off the board. So now we just have a destroyer and a cruiser. I'm going to put in a destroyer in that zone in case they try and get cute. In South Korea, I'm putting in 3 units, 2 artillery and 2 infantry. In Kiangsu, I'm going to put 2 infantry and artillery. And then Malaya, I'm going to put 2 tanks. 2 tanks there, and in Japan itself, I'm going to put an infantry and a mechanized. So give me a second and I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. So just putting some markers down, and we'll do our IPC count. Move it brisk. I've covered everything. I'll move this fighter to Selby's. Okay, so disposition of forces. I have 2 infantry in Novosibirsk. I have 1 tank in Shenxi, 1 infantry in Yunnan, 1 infantry in Shan State, infantry and artillery in French Indochina. In Hong Kong, I got 3 infantry, a fighter and a tactical. In Malaya, I've got 2 tanks. In Java, I've got a artillery and a fighter. In Borneo, I've got 2 infantry. In Celebes, I've got 1 fighter and 1 infantry. Philippines, I have 1 infantry. Dutch New Guinea, I have 1 infantry. In C-Zone 54, I've got a carrier and 2 fighters. In Carolina, I've got an infantry and an anti-aircraft. In Japan, I've got 3 infantry, 2 fighters, 2 tactical, and 1 destroyer in C-Zone 6. In Korea, I have 3 infantry and 4 artillery. In Manchuria, I have 1 tank, 1 anti-aircraft. In Dorna, Nagoba, I have 1 infantry. There's Dorna, Nagoba. In Shahar, Sakha, 1 infantry. Siberia, 1 infantry. Hokkaido, 1 infantry, 1 anti-aircraft. And I think I've covered everything, so now I'm going to do my IPC count. So for IPCs, turn 8. I have my base with the exception of Guangxi, that's a -1. But if you total all those things on the mainland and Southeast Asia, I have 46. And then if you include all the other territories here, I have another 16, and I'm not including any of the bonuses. So that's 46 plus 16 is 62, and I need 55 for an Imperial. So that's turn 8. Thank you very much.